This is the Contractors Corner podcast series from Solar Power World. Well, welcome to another edition of Contractors Corner. I'm Solar Power World Editor-in-Chief Kelly Pickerel, and today I'm talking with Brad Stutzman, who is co-founder and CEO of O3 Energy, a solar developer and installer headquartered in Dallas, Texas. So thanks for talking with me today, Brad.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Kelly.
All right, so tell me about O3 Energy. How did you get started?
Yeah, so O3 Energy, we got our start, it was about in 2011, kind of identified a need in the market. There was a lot of, electricians out in the market, a lot of individuals who had good relationships with building owners who, wanted to go solar, wanted to convert to solar energy for their properties, but didn't really have the knowledge or the ability to carry a project through development and into the construction phase, also handling the financing of it. As you're aware, the development side and financing side of solar projects can be a little bit complicated with the tax credits and all the other pieces from the financing, whether it's a for-profit, non-profit entity, things of that nature. And so what we did was we started partnering with individuals and with groups that had these clients and knew that the client wanted to convert to solar, and we started showing them how to put together the financing, how to carry projects through development, and then how to construction manage those and help with their procurement. So we really got our start as acting as a kind of with our channel partner program to where we were assisting other groups in getting their projects through to fruition. And that was really how we got our start. Since then, we've taken on the role of developing some of our own projects. We've also started providing asset management services for our investors and for some of our clients. And then we also started handling the construction and EPC side to help build out our own projects. With that, also doing the O&M for our own projects that may not have come to us through a channel partner, but we had direct relationships ourselves. And then recently, we've expanded the company to handle residential solar as well. We've rolled out O3 Home Solar here in the Dallas area to help consumers who are wanting to, convert to solar do so with the least amount of headaches possible. So we've really transitioned over the years to become a full-service solar provider.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, you mentioned you are in residential now, but are you primarily in the commercial market?
Oh, yes. Yeah, we're primarily in the commercial market. We just added that division here recently. And like I said, it's just here in the DFW area. But the majority of our business is focused on commercial, and that's how we got our start.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So what areas of the country are you working in?
So the different areas that we're working in currently, we're working across the continental U.S. and then working in the Pacific Islands. That's really our target area. It seems like regionally, for the most part, the Southwest U.S. has been a main focus. I think because of the solar radiance there, it really helps make projects pencil well. And that's where you see a lot of the large uptakes and adaptation to solar. We've also recently expanded into Mexico as well. I think you've been seeing a lot of other groups do the same thing. A lot of our clients here in the U.S. also have operations in Mexico, and we've started working with those same clients that we work with here in the U.S., also on their Mexico facilities as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, so you are out in the Pacific. You're a big presence in Guam. What was attractive about that market, especially with it being so far away?
So really, whenever you look at islands in general, you see Hawaii, you see Guam, Puerto Rico's been a huge uptake as well here lately from other groups. We haven't focused on Puerto Rico. But for islands, solar just makes a lot of sense for islands. Solar does not have a feedstock where their traditional power production on the island has been, diesel or something that requires some sort of feedstock to drive that. Because it is an island, most of the resources on the island are not, have to be brought in or logistically shipped there, and so that creates a nightmare. It also creates a huge carbon footprint for those islands. So by providing solar to clients on islands, we help to drive down the overall cost of those buildings, operating their buildings there, and help with their carbon footprints. Some of in Guam, for instance, they had one of their power plants that caught on fire and was actually deemed a total loss. So they have a huge need right now for electricity. We were just over in the island here a couple weeks back, and we were having rolling blackouts. The power would just go out for 30 minutes in the middle of the day, and that was because they don't have enough production on the island of electricity, and so it's causing these rolling blackouts. So whenever you come in with little pockets of solar here and there, it strengthens that grid for them, and really attacks a need that they have on the island. And so that's why we focused on Guam, and really desired to help the people of the island attack their electric grid.
Mm-hmm. What all do you as a company have to consider when working in the Western Pacific? I know you have an office now in Guam, but what are the logistics of getting solar put up there?
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked that, because there are some complexities to working on the island that are unique to the island of Guam. I would say one of the, just from an environmental standpoint, they get and receive typhoons. They also have earthquakes on the island. So you have to build the projects to be able to withstand both of those. So we're having to build to 180 mile per hour wind load. And they've always been traditionally 170. I think they just took it up to 180 miles per hour, where other areas of the U.S. haven't traditionally had those wind load requirements. I know some of the southeastern U.S., like Florida, Puerto Rico, they're bumping up those wind load speeds because of some of the large hurricanes that they've received in the past few years. But Guam has been doing that for a while now, and so we've had to design all of our facilities to be able to withstand such wind loads. And it creates a little bit more complexity of the project, obviously from a design standpoint, but then also from a material standpoint. If we're doing parking canopies, the parking canopies have to be built a little bit stronger. The supports have to be a little wider. Things like that. As far as other complexities to the island that are different, from other regions of the area or other areas of the U.S., we have, we are a lot closer to manufacturing. I guess it wouldn't be a complexity, it'd be kind of a benefit, a lot closer to some of the manufacturing that is in Asia for some of our materials coming in. So that's an added benefit to developing projects in Guam as well.
Yeah, you wouldn't think about that. I know that Guam is obviously a U.S. territory, but it is a lot closer to Asia than it is to the United States.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And most of the modules that that we use here in the States come from Asia as it is. So it's a little bit closer for logistics as far as shipping and things, just to order straight from Asia versus having it shipped out of California.
Well, switching back just to general commercial, the commercial market, what trends are you seeing in commercial project financing? Are PPAs still king?
So We're seeing some changes. PPAs present an elegant solution to project financing. They make it a little bit simpler for the end users. Ultimately, at the end of the day, our clients are not experts in solar, so a PPA has kind of always helped them kind of simplify the financing process. It helps solar investment basically helps with the provide value through the tax and through the loans to our clients through the PPA, and helping them with choosing green energy and renewable energy. But we have been seeing an uptake in some non-PPAs. There are clients who are starting to become a little bit more sophisticated on their own, and they want to absorb the tax credits themselves, or they want to incorporate any sort of tax benefits into their overall accounting plan. And so, we are seeing some clients that are getting a little bit more complex, and they're handling the financing themselves in-house, and aren't requiring PPAs. So I wouldn't say that the PPA is still king. We are seeing kind of a mix now of PPAs and just outright cash purchases.
Interesting. You mentioned earlier that O3 has been getting involved with O&M and asset management. So is this just for projects that you have developed, or how are you getting those kind of contracts?
Well, traditionally, we started off, attacking the asset management and O&M for our own projects ourselves. We started, being a project owner, we started looking at how we were going to provide those for our projects. Looked in the market at the time, and there weren't really a whole lot of good solutions for assisting us with our portfolio. So we decided to create that in-house ourselves. Over time, we had those resources in-house and started finding opportunities or seeing groups that needed our assistance with the asset management or with the O&M of their portfolios. So we started offering that as a party, or as a service to third parties. So we've kind of mixed it up here and there. I would say about half of our portfolio of O&M services are to our own projects, and then the rest of them are or this other half is to third parties. We also run across several instances where our clients, we're coming in and providing a PPA or offering our EPC services to a client, and they may say, hey, we have this project that we did a few years ago. The group that we did it with, they either went out of business or we don't hear from them anymore. It needs a lot of work. If you're coming in and you're helping us with this new project, can you take a look at our existing project and help us with the O&M for that? So we've seen that a lot in the market as well, and that's another way that we receive a lot of O&M clients.
Mm-hmm. Now, Solar Power World, we are in love with projects that use sheep. So I was wondering, what is your stance on using sheep or animals for O&M? Have you guys looked into it?
We have not looked at it. I think it's a great idea. It makes a lot of sense. The majority of the projects that we have in our O&M portfolio are parking canopies and roof mount systems. So it would be a little difficult, if there were sheep running around on the roof of a building. That's or in somebody's parking lot. So I think we have a handful that are ground mount, and from the standpoint of using sheep to keep the weeds or any sort of vegetation down, I think it's a great idea. I mean, a few of the ones that we do have ground mount, we've either resorted to using some sort of weed killing spray, or gone with pea gravel to keep the keep the vegetation down. But definitely sheep. are a great solution.
Yeah. We just really like the photos. They're always so cute. So, why is it important to O3 to be involved with all aspects of a project, from development to construction to the maintenance?
It's important to us to be involved with all of that because it helps us vertically integrate as a business. And it also helps us learn what each piece of the industry needs. You see a lot of development groups out there that focus on 100% development, and they may be looking at the best way to build the project and develop it for the highest ROI through development, but they're not really thinking about the long-term operations of the project and may, cut a few corners here and there in those regards. And then same thing on the EPC side. We see some groups out there, on the EPC side that they just don't really understand what a developer is looking for in a project, what their goals are, and it helps us to carry those over. It makes us stronger in those areas. If our EPC division understands what our clients, their developers, want and need, it helps us provide a better solution for them versus not having the experience in development and not really understanding that side of things. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the reasons why we like to be vertically integrated and help our clients achieve. The ultimate goal is getting the project done, and it helps us get the project done in the most efficient way possible.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. So O3 Energy has a channel partner program. So what are you looking for with that?
Yeah, so the channel partner program, if you're looking at the current economy and you've seen some trends as far as things go, we have a big mega trend that is a kind of a shared economy. You see Uber, Lyft, Airbnb. They have their core business, but they're reliant on the individuals who use them, similar to us as kind of channel partners, and it helps us to help bring that independent entrepreneurial spirit from the smaller groups out there that maybe don't have the expertise, help them get their projects through to fruition, and help strengthen the industry as a whole. The goal from everyone is to get as much solar deployed as possible. And I think this, our channel partner program really allows us to assist in doing that.
Mm-hmm. What would a situation be? Would it be like a small local solar installer working on a commercial project might, look to you guys for help getting it going?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen several instances different ways that it happens. We see, maybe an electrician. If I'm a building owner and I'm thinking about converting to solar, what is the first thing that I'm going to do? I'm going to call my electrician. Well, the electrician, who's been keeping up with the maintenance of a building, their electrical system, for the life of that building, doesn't necessarily understand the ins and outs of solar. They understand electrical. But, as we discussed before, there are some complexities with financing, especially whenever it is, dependent on the type of business that is operating out of that building. So we see some electricians that bring us some opportunities to assist with. And then we also see, groups that maybe a residential solar installer that doesn't have the experience on the commercial side and maybe does one or two commercial projects a year. We're there to assist them with those as well and bring our expertise to that.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, just trying to further solar as much as possible.
Absolutely.
All right, let's talk about energy storage. Is it picking up steam in the commercial solar market?
It is definitely picking up steam. Obviously, certain areas of the country, it's a little bit more active in the energy storage than others. The main reason I would say is because certain areas it makes a little bit more sense from a numbers standpoint. And other areas also require it. You see on the Hawaiian Islands, they require energy storage in order to interconnect now. You have to have some sort of energy storage because they don't want electricity feeding back onto the grid during the day. You're allowed to push it back at night, but you can't do that without, energy storage. Obviously, solar only produces during the day, so you're not going to be producing at night. I think we'll see a larger adaptation and transition to energy storage as the technology continues to become more advanced and is developed a little bit more. Just like on the solar industry, you see more and more people adopting it, and that's because the technology is advanced, the industry is advanced. You'll see the same thing on the energy storage side. You see more and more people adopting it. You'll see it become more of a requirement and a need versus a want. So it's coming along. I would say it's not fully there yet, but it's moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm. So being involved in so many different markets, especially just regionally and just, commercial, residential, what do you think makes O3 stand out from the crowd?
I would say one of the benefits to being involved in different regions of the U.S. and, internationally, like in Mexico, is we're able to see what works best in those areas and carry that over and implement best practices for across the board. What groups are doing in Arizona may be a little bit different than what they're doing in New Jersey. And you can take a look at what are the best practices across the board, and maybe we should implement some of the practices that they're doing in Arizona in New Jersey. And you see that across all the regions that we're working in. So, I think that's one of the strengths. It also helps us to attract really good talent to our company because we are, we're not just focused in one area or another. We are focused across the U.S., Mexico, and the Pacific Islands. So it creates some diversity to our business.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to be designing all your systems to meet 180 mile per hour wind loads? Is that something you're going to adopt
whenever it's required. Some areas it may not make sense for us to design for 180 per hour mile per hour wind load if it's not required in those areas, and if they don't get the wind, it may not make sense to do that.
Yeah. So what does O3 Energy hope to accomplish in the next few years?
We really want to continue to expand the company. We want to expand our residential division outside of Texas, expand the Mexico market as well, and really become a global solar player, and helping to provide kind of the standard for the industry. There are a lot of synergies and that we can bring throughout the industry, and we want to be that group that everybody strives to be, and really put a good ethical name on our company and help the adoption of solar across the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, good luck. You guys are already in so many markets. I definitely expect to see you in in many more. So, thanks, Brad, for talking with me today about the company.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Kelly. Thanks for your time.
This has been another edition of Contractors Corner. Join us each month as editor Kelly Pickerel chats with solar installers across the country. Thanks for listening to the Solar Power World podcast. Visit us online to hear more great podcasts, view industry videos, and read our great editorial content. SolarPowerWorldOnline.com. See you back here next month.